Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Rob Joswiak here. I'm with a friend of mine, Donyel Lewis.
Yes.
And the title of today's video is EFMs, Eligible Family Members in the Foreign Service. Donyel, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm glad you did this video.
Yeah, if it was anybody else, I would not have done this.
It's hard to track down some of the EFMs that post because, they're doing a lot of the raising the kids, working jobs, night activities. But I touched on it in an early video, and I felt it really important that the audience be able to, hear from somebody who is following their spouse around. Your wife works at USAID.
Correct.
And talk a little bit about why she's here, and then we'll get into what it's like for you here as an eligible family member.
Oh, while she's here, her goal in life since a teenager was to help out internationally, bring awareness to foreign countries, developing countries on how to better themselves through economic means. And she was in the Peace Corps in Nicaragua in '99, and she's always been about helping out other countries and people that are trying to come up.
Right.
I'd say it was 2009, she decided that she wanted to make a move overseas.
Yeah.
And currently at the time I was working with a company called Konica Minolta doing service tech for copiers, big time copiers. And I was ready for a move.
Yeah.
And nothing had me set down. So I was like, let's go on that journey.
And what's that like when your spouse comes to you, you're used to living in the States, and they say, because this does happen, I say I read it a lot on the internet, one gets the offer or is thinking about going through the process, and they're worried about getting their spouse on board. Was that a long process? Talk about that a little bit.
It wasn't a long process. For us, it wasn't that long. We first started with the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the Foreign Service. And that process then took no longer than maybe 2 months, 2 or 3 months. I got lucky to get my clearance.
Right.
Say the question again?
No, just talking about the process. Was it a long discussion?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything set. I didn't have a career that I was super excited about.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to do was raise babies. And I knew that if we went overseas, that it'd afford us the lifestyle to live comfortably and let me be a stay-at-home
So
dad.
you didn't need much convincing?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I was ready to go.
All right, so you didn't need much convincing. Tell me about your expectations before you got overseas versus the reality of living overseas and what that's been like for you.
Expectations, that's kind of hard to say. Our first post was Panama, so of course I did a little bit of research and to check out like crimes and foods and holidays that you can go on. It seemed fine. My family was completely against it. They wanted us to stay. They didn't want us to go.
Right.
They were scared for whatever reason, multiple reasons. But eventually they got on board and were supportive of us. But just a lot of research online, seeing like what to expect. And,
for the country that you were going to.
Exactly. Yes.
This is more general about living in the Foreign Service. All right, so now you're in Cambodia. Getting a little older, the kids are growing up.
10 and 8.
Talk about hobbies. What do you like to do at night? Talk about, you have a job. You do have a job through the government.
Yep.
And just what it's like living here.
Actually, at my last post, we were in El Salvador and working through the newsletter of the embassy. Jobs come out. There had been a job opening up in the consulate section.
Yeah.
Working with fingerprinting visa applicants and working in the gang unit. So I applied for it.
Right.
Went through my interviews, and that was my first taste of like embassy career.
Right.
What made it really nice was it was only a part-time job, so I could work the hours from 8 to 12.
Yeah.
I still had that time to take care of the kids if they needed to come home, if somebody was sick.
Yeah.
I was still able to go pick somebody up, drop something off, had all the time to run errands. So it was really, they made it very comfortable for me to work that job. Not make a crazy amount of money, but enough, a significant amount to, help out.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and feel important and socialize with adults or stay with kids. Now in Cambodia, I've come to love Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah, I know this firsthand because he dominates. You see this guy? He's like Hulk Hogan.
That's one of the best things about my job too. Now, right now, I'm currently working alongside the regional security office. I'm helping them do contracts and other stuff like that. But it's still my time is pretty free and open, so it gives me time to do all the hobbies I love. Working out. I've lost 40 pounds since I've gotten the post. Doing the Jiu Jitsu. I can work on baking. I can volunteer if I wanted to. So luckily, my wife is been gracious enough to allow me to be a stay-at-home dad and continue this lifestyle of being happy and learning about myself more.
It's great. And again, I appreciate you doing this interview. One thing my channel and the videos that I have on it don't touch on much is children, because I don't have any yet. Who knows? Talk about what it's like for them, the schooling, those concerns that maybe an eligible family member would also have in mind beyond their own life, the consideration of the kids.
Okay. What we found in most of the countries that we've been to is that there are at least 4 or 5 great schools that you have the option. American school, British school, French school, German school, multi-language schools that you can try. You interview with 1 to 2 to all of them. You get a feel for it. You take your kids on a tour. One great thing about being overseas is the cost of these schools or private schools are, I don't want to say outrageous, but outrageous, and there's no way that we'd be able to afford this in the States. So thank you, taxpayers, for paying your money, because it is allowing our kids to have an amazing education.
That is one benefit of being in the foreign service, whether it's State Department, DOD. We have, I've interviewed some military folks on my channel. Is that if you have kids and they're school aged, whatever school you choose and they get into will be paid as a part of your benefit package. My wife and I don't have any kids. That's not a concern that we have. It is a foreign consideration. But if you're especially older, let's say you're in your 30s, 40s, even 50s, and you have kids that are school aged, right? That's a benefit of the package that you have, right? And usually, like you were saying, dual language. So maybe the French or the Spanish or the German or the local language. That is one thing, even though I've never had a kid go through it, I know of it just because all my friends with kids. And I think that's something that people, when they learn about the foreign service, they don't initially think about. So if you're on the fence about living overseas, or you're a spouse and your husband or wife or partner is about to go in the foreign service or wants to go in the foreign service, it's a big bonus.
Big bonus. That, along with housing paid for.
We're here. He has a house. I've lived in apartments.
It allows you to either save for investment, for retirement, or spend it all on regional travel and travel the world. My kids have more stamps in their passports than most of my friends back at home. But yes, between schooling, housing, healthcare.
Donyel, I keep a very positive attitude on the channel and in the videos, because I want people to learn about what we do. I want them to know what we do, and to know that these opportunities are open to every American. There's a process, and you have to meet certain requirements, but you can apply. I do have to be real though. There are drawbacks. Do you want to touch on a few of those just briefly? Because if you're sitting in the United States thinking about doing this, it's not all peaches and cream. Nothing is in life. What would you say as an eligible family member, as a father, as a husband, are some of those drawbacks?
The biggest thing you notice first is the time difference. Being in Cambodia, we're 12 hours or 11 hours away from the States. So staying in contact with your loved ones, grandma, grandpa, uncle, it's very hard, and you have to work out a schedule for that to happen. Also, being so far away, to travel to and from the States is quite difficult, mentally and physically. When we first came to Cambodia, it actually took 48 hours in total, with layovers in Korea and California to get here. So doing that trip with 2 smaller kids was definitely a challenge. So time difference, learning the new culture, learning that,
not necessarily a negative.
Not a negative,
but a challenge.
But having to learn something into, I don't want to say you have to adapt to it, but in my opinion, I want to experience and be a part of the community. So taking your shoes off when you go inside somebody's house, being in the workplace and keeping a low voice and not yelling at somebody or honking at people. Honking,
because the religion, the background, the history, the culture all affects how the community, the city, in this case, that we live works. You know, and meeting, you know, we talked about, you know, you got a good group of friends at Jiu Jitsu.
Yes.
And you can, and that's the thing. Like for me, and this is applicable no matter what your association with the Foreign Service is, it's meeting people outside of the embassy community. I have this channel for those who want to learn about the embassy, but I will tell you one of the big positives is internally and externally. Like you and I may have never met, you know what I mean? Outside of, if it weren't for the Foreign Service, I get to meet Americans from all over, all walks of life, in addition to the locals, wherever you may be posted. So, I don't know, make a pitch to, you know, a young man or woman whose husband or wife wants to join the Foreign Service from an EFM, eligible family member. I'm going to do it twice in the graphics. Make a pitch to them why they should do it.
Why you should do it. I want to say this first. It is not for everybody. Some people aren't equipped to move every 3 to 4 years. You get settled. You finally get in a good rhythm. You know, after a year or two, your kids are making friends. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, let's go and move again. But if, in the case of our family, we love to travel. We love visiting new countries. We love seeing new cultures, tasting new food. So it's a blessing really for us. It gives us time, like I said, to save money.
Right.
That's one of the top factors, saving money for retirement. What else? Yeah, like it's amazing. Like if you like to travel, if you want to help out, if you want taxpayers to feel like their money is going towards something good, that's what I'm here for.
I think I'll end it with that, is that, you know, you really do get to see the impact of your work overseas, first person. Right. Not just the officer or the person working at the embassy, but a husband or wife or spouse or partner as well. So I think that's something to really think about.
One more thing. It just opens your mind to a whole another culture, conservative, left wing, everything. Like you get, and hopefully my kids will be so much more experienced and have with interacting with people from different cultures, that when we do eventually go back to the States, they'll be much more open-minded and free to talk to people that are different from them.
For sure, 100%. Thank you very much. Oh, strong. You have no idea how strong he is. You get him on top of you in jiu-jitsu and you're like, oh. I hope you guys are enjoying the channel. This is a part of the interview series. I'm heading to Australia this week. Back here for a few days, and then PCS and out. I'm going to have to catch up with you on the mats and in the world down the road, as we always say in the Foreign Service. Check out the other videos. If you have any questions, comments, I'll put it below. I'm going to put your contact information on the info line. Sure. So if somebody has something specific, hey, Donyel, what do you think about this? They can reach out to you. And, you know, if you've subscribed or thinking about subscribing or follow the channel, thank you. I hope the information, the interviews, the videos, are bringing some quality and information to your life. And if you're thinking about the Foreign Service, just apply, just do it. You can do it. We're doing it. It's awesome. And thank you.